We're back again, and this time it's a
Another
split
one.
screen. We feel like we figured this out, this whole technology thing. We promised you one of your favorite video segments. It's seriously the most popular thing we've ever done on YouTube, other than questions about my wedding, is Ask Amy Anything, the video version. Thank you so much for your great response to our first video. So this is our second one together, Memories of Two Vampires, Ask Amy Anything.
Oh man! And once again, going through those questions, it felt like it was just yesterday that I was doing it. So like, really, it felt like no time was missed at all. It was just second nature to me at this point. Yeah, hundreds on hundreds of questions. Again, of course, like I expected nothing less. So should we just dive into them? I have so many questions.
Let's go.
All right, so there's a couple questions here that legitimately every single person was asking. So there's about like 4 of those.
Wait, let me guess. Anything about when I'm coming back? When I'm going to be on the radio again, or
maybe
the neighbor's obnoxious light.
Yeah, that might have got in there a couple times. I might have seen that. So there's a few that like everyone's dying to know, but I'm going to save those just for a little bit here. I got 2 here to start off that were specific. So this one comes from a Good News Daily on our Facebook account. That was the name of them. And they ask, what has been the #1 positive outcome from your decision to move on to this next phase in your life?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. Really, I feel a lot healthier, and I know Jay can attest to that. He's about 9 months ahead of me on this schedule, but having the ability to eat healthier and having the ability to work out pretty much every day, or at the very least to get a couple of walks in with the dogs when the sun is up. It's so great to get that
nice,
vitamin
right?
D. And also, I got to be honest, the stress level is a lot less. And I don't think I realized the stress of the daily/nightly routine, not just the driving into New York City, which comes with a stress all of its own, but the stress of constantly being in that rat race. I would just say the stress level is a lot lower. And honestly, that's contributed to me feeling healthier and happier.
This one comes from a CJ on our Facebook page. He wants to know, what is your most favorite thing you've been doing now that you're not working overnight hours?
The chance to spend time with my husband or with friends. I just came back from a trip to Texas and was able to hang out with mom and family for a bit, and being able to do that on their schedules and not having to stay up 36 hours to travel. Yeah, so overnights is just a completely different animal. But also the first year that I was married, we were on opposite schedules, and it left us really with an hour or 2 a day in which I wasn't tired, he wasn't tired, we didn't have something else going on, or I didn't have to work, he didn't have to work. I know it sounds crazy, but opposite schedules was really challenging. And so it actually feels like we're in a honeymoon phase, or maybe the first year of marriage now that we're actually on the same schedule.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I've appreciated that, yeah.
All right, are you ready for the hard-hitting questions here that everyone's dying to know about?
Okay, I'm ready, fire away.
Let's get into them. The first one. How are the dogs getting along?
Oh, the dogs are great, actually, Jay. And I have to tell you, one thing I do miss, I don't know if you're going to ask me what I miss about the routine, but one thing I do miss is telling stories about our pets. Because you have Moose, and actually Moose is now a senior citizen.
Yes,
and
he
is
is.
always
Even though he's always acted
always
like
a
one,
hoot.
but now he's got an excuse. Yeah.
Moose in his kiddie pool, and Moose with the air condition. Of course, I told Penny stories forever, but now we've got Daisy, who is my husband's mini Aussie when we got married, and we adopted Flower at Christmas time. And we just went hiking a couple weekends ago. I want you to know, we came back with dogs that were 2 completely different colors. They found every mud puddle and traipsed right through it, splashed in every creek, and they'd get across to the other side and then turn around and go back just because it was fun. When we took them to the beach a couple of weeks ago, they were trying to figure out how to share the Frisbee. That didn't go so well for Daisy because Flower can be a bit of a hog when it comes to the toys. But just telling pet stories, right? And so the dogs are getting along great. We haven't even had Flower for 3 months. We're coming up on 3 months, and she's completely bonded to us. They play tug of war with their favorite puffer pig toy, which is extremely loud. They both chase after the ball or the Frisbee. They walk really well together. They sleep right next to each other on beds that are lined up in our room. So they're getting along great. And actually, Daisy, she can be a little Moose-like in that she can be sedentary, slightly lazy maybe, and so Flower's really good for her because there's no part of Flower that ever wants to sit still. So good energy, which is good for Daisy. And yeah, they're they're getting along really well.
All right, next one everyone's dying to know. When are you planning a return back to radio? And do you miss it?
I miss the creative process of radio. I miss talking, of course. I miss connecting with listeners. I miss the organic laughter, the topics that we stumble on that have nothing to do with sports. I miss striking gold, if you will, radio gold with a really cool interview. I miss pulling some of the fun storylines out of different sporting events. So really, I miss the creative process. I miss that challenge of putting together a show that I am proud of in that moment. I miss the adrenaline rush of turning on my microphone. So those are the things I miss. I love radio. It's all I've wanted to do since I was 16 years old. But I do not miss overnights. And every day people ask me, when are you coming back? Well, I'm not coming back to overnights. However, I'll just give you a little insight peek behind the curtain. I am about to sign a contract to get back on the air. Since I haven't signed it yet, I cannot tell you with whom, but I will say this, in the month of April, no doubt, I will be back doing radio in some capacity. I can't wait, because I'll tell you, Jay, I've gotten itchy. Again, I miss talking on radio. I miss my first club. I'm still passionate about it. I've taught a couple classes at Rutgers, and then I was part of a panel for a college conference in New York City. And talking about the process and the art of radio made me miss it a lot. So I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just want to do it. So yes, I'm anxious to get back on the air, and I promise that I will let everyone know on social.
Wow, did we just get like a semi-Amy bomb right there? Did that just happen?
You did. I wish I could tell you more. I will, of course, be sharing the details when I have them, but I'm, as of this moment, waiting on some paperwork, getting ready to sign a contract.
All right. I'm going to have to make a new video when that release is ready. So, oh, that's awesome news. Next one. This one is probably the one that I've seen maybe the most out of any of the questions that we gotten on that whole post. What is happening with the light next door?
I knew it. Yes, I knew it. Oh my gosh. I swear people care more about that than any other aspect of my personal life. So here's the deal. The neighbor still has a very bright light that is shining on his garage, which is in fact flooding our backyard and is still coming in every window on the back and one side of our house. This is how he circumvented the town. You're not going to believe this. He changed the bulb. Instead of being a white moon colored light, so we're talking about luminescent as though like an LED light that, oh my gosh, like the Death Star or a bright moon that was right outside our window. Instead, he changed it to a yellow bulb. So now instead of looking like the moon, it looks like the sun. But it is still so bright. No, it's awful, Jay. I'm not kidding. And somehow he managed to get the town inspector to believe that that was okay. My husband called the inspector. He said, oh, well, as long as you close your blinds and keep your curtains closed at night, you'll have no problem. I'll tell you, I woke up a couple nights ago and I didn't know if it was morning or if it was still the middle of the night.
No.
It's so obnoxiously bright. It's intrusive. I'm serious. I'm suffering from light pollution. I'd probably be sleeping better. And I know my husband would be, if not, because he's closer to the window, if not for the fact that this light is still so obnoxious. So we have now.
This can't skate sleeping during the day.
Right? I might as well be. Oh, plus I have a cat, a 17-year-old cat that howls nonstop as soon as the light goes out. So yeah, sleeping at night in our house isn't all it's cracked up to be. Can I maybe get my old job back? Should I reconsider? Yeah. So we have actually written a new email to the town to just explain this is not the ordinance. The ordinance says the light needs to be covered or pointed in the other direction. We've got pictures and evidence. So all of that to say, it's still bright. It's just a different color and we're not done fighting. Though I'll be honest, I've said to my husband a couple times, can we please move? Please, I just want to
move for the light.
Oh my gosh, it sucks. I know actually you used to have a neighbor who would incessantly bounce the basketball, right?
Oh yeah.
Nonstop. He was going to be in the NBA.
All hours,
I know that there were days that kept you awake. It's rough.
Yeah, not fun.
But I feel like a lot of people can relate to bad neighbors. And it's been a story that's taken on a life of its own.
It's rough. All right, ready for this last one here that everyone's dying to know about?
Okay.
Are you following the Iditarod, and do you have any updates on Matt the Musher?
Well, I do know that Matt and his daughter went to one of the checkpoints to serve as volunteers.
Oh,
so
cool.
I've heard from him when they were on their way. And I did follow the Iditarod, actually. It was kind of cool. You know how social media, when you click on a particular post, like for me, I'll look at Star Wars posts or photos, behind the scenes things, or I love baby animal videos. I love videos of hippos from the Cincinnati Zoo. So once you do that, then your feed is full of it. So I clicked on one link about the Iditarod when it first started. I'm not sure if you know, it was the longest one in history. They had to reroute it because of some weather issues and a lack of snow in one area, I believe. And they had a ton of scratches this year. So every time I logged into social, I was getting updates. It's actually a former reality TV star who ended up winning. His name is Jesse Holmes. He had finished in the top 5 before. I believe he might have started 8 or 9 of them and finally won. And it was just an amazing experience to be able to follow the videos that they would post from different checkpoints. So yeah, I was really into it. And at some point, I know Matt the Musher is going to be able to race again. And by that time, we'll have to be partnering with him and we'll adopt him again and can offer updates. People really love Matt the Musher. And he is on Facebook, so you can find him out there.
And now, since you mentioned Star Wars, I've got to go into this one here. So this comes in from a Scott on Twitter. And he wants to know, if you could have had a cameo in a Star Wars movie, would you want to be a Jedi, a droid, a stormtrooper, or something else? And this is you, not like as like this is Amy Lawrence in Star Wars, and you get to be anything you want to be in that universe.
Oh my gosh, that'd be really cool. Well, I wouldn't want to be a stormtrooper because I'd have to wear that awful equipment and the helmet that you can't see out of anyway. Plus, stormtroopers in Star Wars are terrible shots, and they get knocked over by just a punch. I mean, Ewoks were able to take them out, so that wouldn't be a long life for me. No longevity in being a stormtrooper in Star Wars. Although my husband's truck is named the Stormtrooper, so let's hope that doesn't apply there. Let's see. Droids, well, you never underestimate a droid, right? We know that from the Star Wars flicks. Never underestimate a droid. But I feel like I'd be cramped up in, again, some type of costume that would be really inhibiting. Also, if you're R2-D2 or if you're BB-8, I don't know. I feel like, again, you don't get to be yourself. Your voice isn't recognized there. And my voice is probably the most recognizable thing about me. So I'm going with Jedi. I love the lightsabers. We walked into our wedding reception with lightsabers to the Imperial March that we walked into, and it was such a cool moment. And I would probably want a purple lightsaber like Mace Windu, but I was
thinking maybe orange.
True, that too. Although I feel like that's mostly Inquisitors and Sith, but still,
it's like an evil look, but.
So I love the idea of fighting with a lightsaber, but also I'm fascinated with the ability to move objects in the Force. It's so cool to pick up rocks, to knock people backward. I just think that's amazing. So yeah, I need to explore my Force sensitivity.
Love it. All right, leads us into this next one from David. And he wants to know, if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
I love the white birch. It's a tree that you see a lot in forests in New Hampshire. It's actually a tree that I look for every time I go hiking because it stands out. So in a forest full of brown bark and brown trunks and mostly green leaves and vegetation, a white birch stands out. And so when I was in high school, I was different, as you can imagine. I was never really like everybody else. I didn't really have a group that I fit into. My mom gave me a poster that is dog-eared now. I think it's actually laminated. It's hanging in one of my closets. But it was a photo of a white birch in the middle of a sea of green. And the caption read, "To be different is often a wonderful thing." And it resonated with me. And for that reason, I love the white birch. But also, if you've never seen one in the middle of a sea of green forest, it's pretty incredible because it stands out in a way that's really powerful. And they're just beautiful. You can see them all over the White Mountains in New Hampshire. So yes, the white birch. Are you impressed that I was ready with
That's
an answer?
That's a really good answer. Yeah, really good answer. Wow.
Thank you, Jay.
Well, all right. All right, let's go into this one from Boss Life on Facebook. He wants to know, with the evolution of sports media and the rise of podcasts and independent content creators, how do you see the role of traditional sports radio in the next 5 years? That's his timeline.
Question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's really funny is going back to my days at Syracuse, and of course now I'm a professor there, but I was a grad student there. We were being told about the pending demise of radio as far back as 2.5, even 3 decades ago. And yet here it is, it's still thriving. And the reason is because there's no other medium like it. It's personal, it's intimate, it's portable, it's immediate. The personality comes through in radio unlike any other medium. And so radio is not dying. It's not going away. Now, terrestrial radio, it has shrunk a bit. There are stations that are getting wiped out, networks that are shutting down. But honestly, podcasts, they can enhance what you do on the radio because like, when we were doing After Hours together, many people weren't listening live. They were catching the podcast the next day or after the fact. That was how all of my family and friends listened. They very rarely listened live. So what it does is increase your audience and enhance the ability to connect with more people. But there isn't anything like radio. There isn't anything like that ability to feel like you know someone. People tell me they think I'm part of their family or I'd become part of their daily routine. Radio does that like no other medium. So honestly, the digital capabilities, they can extend your reach and they can certainly bring more people into your audience that you might not otherwise have. But radio's not going away. And it's the GOAT, right? It's the grandfather. There is no podcast if there's no radio. That's the model. So podcast is just a digital form of radio. Regardless of how you get it, it's still the same medium. And radio is, to me, radio is more important and more intimate and necessary than ever. I love it. Beautifully said.
All right, ready for a fun one here before rapid fire?
Oh my gosh, rapid fire! Okay, let's go.
So this comes from Karen on our Facebook page. She wants to know, are you and Bob planning any new adventures this spring or summer?
Oh, well, we're always looking for something. I kind of feel like, and this is just my personality, but thankfully Bob is similar. If you don't have something to look forward to, it's a little bit tougher to get through the mundane. It's a little bit tougher to get through the daily routines. So yes, we always have something to look forward to. Now, in the month of March, I went to see my mom. He's visiting his family. So we actually, I tell people as a joke, we're just barely over a year married. We're already taking separate vacations. No. It's just to maximize our time with our families. But coming up, my birthday is in a few weeks. And Bob has managed to pull off a really cool surprise. He did this all by himself, though he did tell me about it just because, partly because it involves the dogs. So we took the dogs on the hike and Flower got a little tired. So the last couple of inclines, he had to pick her up and carry her the last 20 feet. I think because she'd never gone hiking before. She's a Texas dog. They don't have mountains like this, right? So she was fine once we got to the top and she could go downhill or on level ground, but she was a little tired. So he said to me, for your birthday, I've actually got us an Airbnb and I found a hike. It's it's along the Delaware River called the Delwater Gap between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And it's also in intersection with the Appalachian Trail, the AT. And it's a 10-mile hike.
Wow.
So he told me about it and he said, do you think Flower is going to be able to make it? So I've been increasing our dog walks. There's nothing like hiking, of
She's
course.
in training.
Yeah. We'll see what we're getting into, whether or not Flower is able to go the entire 10 miles. But it's not all rock scrambles and it's really only a 2,100 foot mountain. So you kind of, in the first mile and a half, you scale it. And then the rest, you kind of meander up and through the mountain. So it's not real strenuous after that. It's just that it's 10 miles. So one of us might be backpacking with a dog on our backs. We'll be working on our muscles. Anyway, so that's one thing to look forward to. But we also have a beach trip. We're going South Carolina, back to my favorite spot in the Low Country. Nice. Yeah, coming up in May. So I'm really excited about that because going back to before we were married, we were supposed to go, and then his father passed away, and so our plans changed. And I still really want to show him my favorite spot on the East Coast. And yeah, I can't wait. You know, beach vacations, they're our fave. You and I mean, I know you love beach vacations.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. You ready for rapid fire?
Okay, I'm nervous about duck-sized horses and horse-sized ducks.
No, not this time. Not this time. This one actually comes in from a listener on Facebook. He wants to know flowers or chocolates.
I have to choose?
Yep.
Flowers don't make me fat, so I'll go with flowers. But I love chocolate. I can't imagine living without it. But flowers, because they smell good and they make me happy.
Multiple choice or long answer questions?
Well, you know me. I can never just give you a succinct answer to any question. So it's, as much as multiple choice is kind of a fun game, oh no, I'm the long answer girl. I got to write it all out by hand.
Lobster or crab? Because of course we got to get some food in this edition of Asking Me Anything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, only our first food question. Lobster. I love lobster with a ton of butter. Oh.
All right, ready for this one? Moon colony or underwater colony?
Oh my gosh. Considering the astronauts just came home after getting stranded in space. They're supposed to go for 8 days and they're there for 9 months.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
Underwater colony is scary. What? Oh. I'll go underwater. I feel like there's more to see. I love fish. Gosh, both of those are frightening, but I'll go with underwater colony for a short time, like a submarine. Can I do a submarine?
All right, yeah, I'll allow it.
Okay.
Last one here. Now that you've had a taste of a little bit of both, early bird or night owl?
I'm still a night owl, so I sometimes still stay up past midnight and I read or I watch TV, or I feel more alive late night, not overnight, but late night. So yeah, I would say I'm still a night owl. The house is quiet long before I go to bed most of the time. So still adjusting there, but yeah, I probably midnight to 8 a.m. would be my natural sleep, or 1 to 9, something along those lines. So as always, I'm going to go back on social. There's, oh my gosh, hundreds of questions. So I'll try to answer a few more. But Jay and I will collaborate because we've got 2 t-shirts left, one small, one extra large. So I don't know, Jay, maybe should we, in order to ensure that people have watched all the way through the video, should we say you have to find us and let us know that you want a t-shirt? How should we do it?
That's fine, yeah. I mean, if you commented on the video and you think your comment is deserving, then why?
Yeah, so YouTube channel, of course, is where you're finding us now. You've got our Facebook page named after, well, now it's just named after the concept, After Hours with Amy Lawrence. Yeah. So if you watched all the way to the end of this video and you would like a special After Hours throwback tee, will you reach out to us on either of our social media? I've got a small, I've got an extra large. I'll mail it to you. I'll write a note. But this is how we prove that you watched all the way through, because this is the only way you're getting them. First come, first serve. So chop, chop.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Jay. It's been awesome to connect with you again.
Oh, it's been amazing.
I'm feeling like this shouldn't be our last time.
I think we're going to have to do maybe a couple more. Who knows? Maybe.